Approximately 20 kilometers from Hogsback in the Eastern Cape is Fenfield Farm, and this is where Janice Renton and her dad, Mike Galloway, farm. Now, before I'm letting the cat out of the bag, let's ask them what they farm with and what makes it so successful for them in a very difficult Sauerveld area. You can start telling us a little bit more about things, and then later on we're also going to hear what Mike has to say.
It's Janice here, and with my dad. I am fourth generation on Fenfield. We have families. The farm has been in the family for about 97 years, so it's a huge privilege to be farming here in, like Carin said, this beautiful, beautiful district. We are warm at the moment, but we are in a very unique microclimate where we do experience many days of frost during winter. We definitely can get snow, and obviously all of that adds to the challenges of living in this place and the beauty of farming and being successful in this environment. Just talking about the weather, and one of the things that gives us a competitive advantage, especially with our dairy, is the temperatures that we have. We get cold at night and we have warm days in summer, but don't get too hot, and that helps us grow really productive, energy-rich, protein-rich ryegrass, which gives us good production for our dairy cows. We run a pasture-based dairy system. We've got about 220 dairy cows in our milking herd at the moment.
And then, of course, there's Fenfield Reds, which is an operation that started quite a few years ago. What is the aim with this herd? If you can just tell us more about that.
We've got about 700 hectares of veld that we run beef cows on. I and my dad have been very privileged to be involved in the Fenfield Reds beef group, which has been going for 51 years. Was started by my grandpa and another man from the district, Chappie Evans. And we are privileged enough to run the central herd of the beef group. We run about 220 beef cows, and then we grow out the bulls for the members of the group as well. Those bulls run on our dryland pastures, and very, very much a part of our integrated farming operation, the dairy and the beef that operate together.
So it is a very difficult environment in many ways to farm, such as the fact that it is Sauerveld and that you get really cold winters here. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Janice?
Yeah, Carin, that when it comes to regenerative agriculture, I think the important thing is to see your farm as a whole, to understand that health starts in the soil. Healthy soil equals healthy grasses. Healthy grass equals healthy animals. Obviously, you need to focus on other animal husbandry things as well. But we see it as a big picture. To be regenerative and sustainable, you have to look at the whole. We do put a big focus on assessing our soil health every year. So in our pastures, so got two different aspects to manage pastures, which are irrigated and dryland pastures, and then to how to look after the veld. There's a big focus on intensive grazing, making sure that our grass is grazed at the best quality and we graze it down, and then to focus on rest periods as well. Appropriate rest. We don't believe that there's a specific time frame that can be stamped on something where you can say it always has to be 90 days rest, but to judge seasons for what they are and to judge rest periods for what is needed. And to take each environment, irrigated pasture, dryland pasture, and veld as their own unique environments as well. We subscribe to we use the services of a company called Trace and Save, who do soil sampling for us on our pastures every year, give feedback on our carbon footprint and how well we're doing in terms of sustainability and looking after our resources properly. And then we also make use of EOV, which is a Savory Institute program where they look at your ecological outcomes verification, which is more focused on the felt and on your more extensive farming. So we are using those tools to help us manage our land better. But yeah, the bottom line would be a huge focus on soil and grass health to help regenerate and keep our pastures improving all the time.
Janice, can you please elaborate about the regenerative agricultural practices that you have implemented at Fenfield Farm?
Carin, you asked if we've seen an improvement in our land and on our grass, having implemented regenerative practices, and we definitely have. I think the most noticeable improvement that we've seen has been on our drylands. My dad, without knowing all the details of what people talk about now with regenerative farming practices, has actually been doing it on our veld for the last 20 or 30 years. My dad has had a focus on intensive grazing periods with longer appropriate rest, and that has obviously improved our veld quality. We've got a wide variety of plants and grass species, which is always exciting to see. We do still have challenges, obviously, and we continue to work on those. The biggest improvement that has been noticeable is on our drylands, where we have seen the just greater response in the return and the regrowth of our grasses, where we've let them go to seed on their own. We've seen lots of seedlings come back, higher plant density, and just being able to graze more often in a year, actually, because the plants are recovering better because the soil is better. Dad, don't you want to tell the listeners a little bit about two uniquenesses of our business operation in terms of the dairy and the beef?
Thanks, Janice. Just first want to say that it's really good thing to have her, Janice, as the farmer. It's been a difficult path at times, and without knowing where we were going to go with succession, and then have her come back has been a real blessing for us. Yeah, back to being unique, we have two things that make us a bit unique. The one is the dairy farming practice of being totally seasonal. So we dry all our cows off at the end of May and start calving again at the beginning of August. And that helps us to cope with weather circumstances in our valley, which are a bit different. And we follow the fodder flow quite closely so that we can save costs on feeding. And then also with regard to the beef herd, it's not a normal herd. We don't have heifers on the farm, beef heifers. We only have the bulls that we grow out for our members. And that has helped us to be sustainable business-wise, because we are able to grow out bulls quite effectively here. The other thing which has been a big plus for us is changing our farming practices quite a lot over the years. We do not work the soil at all anymore, and we have 26% of this farm which was ploughed every year. And since we've stopped doing the ploughing, we've made big strides towards better grass cover and all that goes with that. Just to end this off, we are very aware that our goal is to have the farm in our family for generations to come as well. And we are learning as we go as to what that will look like. And we learn from our predecessors, and we're trusting that we're going into the future, what we are doing now will make a difference, and it will be sustainable into the future. Thank you very much for having us.